The moment you clicked this video, something strange already happened. Not on your screen, inside your mind. You may think it was random. Maybe the algorithm showed it. Maybe you were just scrolling without thinking. But ask yourself one simple question. Out of millions of videos, why did your eyes stop here? Why not 1 second later? Why not another title? Small moments like this often look ordinary until you see the hidden pattern behind them. Science says your brain notices what matches your attention. Quantum ideas go one step further. They suggest that attention is not only watching reality, it is also shaping it. That means every choice you make sends a signal. Every thought carries a quiet frequency. Most people never notice these signals because life keeps them busy. They wake up, repeat the same habits, carry the same fears, and expect different results. But every once in a while, something breaks that cycle. A message appears at the exact moment a person is ready to hear it. Maybe that person is you. Have you noticed how strange the last few days have been? Certain numbers keep showing up. Old memories return without warning. You suddenly think about someone, and they call you. You feel pulled towards something you cannot explain. At first, these moments seem like accidents. But when they keep happening, your mind starts asking questions that logic cannot answer. The strange part is, the universe never forces anyone to wake up. It only leaves signs. Quiet signs. Most people ignore them because they are looking for something loud. They expect a miracle to fall from the sky. They do not realize that real change usually begins with one small moment that feels impossible to explain. Imagine standing in a huge room filled with thousands of radios. Every radio is playing a different station. The music is already there. The signals are already moving through the air. But you only hear the station your radio is tuned to. Your mind works the same way. If your thoughts stay locked on fear, you notice more fear. If they stay locked on doubt, you find more reasons to doubt. But the moment your inner frequency changes, it is like turning the dial. Suddenly, things that were always around you become visible. What if this video is not changing your life? What if it is only showing you that your frequency has already started changing before you even press play? That question makes many people uncomfortable because it removes the idea of luck. It suggests that the life you experience is connected to the energy you carry every single day. It means the invisible world inside you may be shaping the visible world around you far more than you ever believed. Here is something even more interesting. People often wait for proof before they believe. But in many quantum ideas, belief itself changes what you notice. It is like walking through a dark room with a flashlight. The room is full of objects, but the light only reveals what it touches. Your focus works like that flashlight. The more energy you give one direction, the more real it becomes in your experience. Now think about your own life. How many dreams did you leave behind because someone else said they were impossible? How many times did fear become your guide instead of your vision? And what if those moments slowly tuned your mind away from the reality you were meant to experience? Maybe this is why you felt something unusual before this video even started. Not excitement, not fear, just a quiet feeling that you should stay and keep listening. Because deep inside, a part of you already knows something is changing. And the next thing you are about to discover may completely change the way you see every coincidence that has happened in your life until today. For years, people have been taught that reality is fixed. Work hard, wait your turn, accept what happens. But what if reality is more like a mirror than a wall? A mirror does not decide who you are. It reflects what stands in front of it. In the same way, your outer world may be reflecting patterns that have been running inside you for years without your notice. Think about the last time you kept expecting something to go wrong. Before the day even started, your mind was already preparing for failure. You noticed every problem. Every delay felt like proof that life was against you. But on the rare days when you woke up feeling calm and confident, strange things happened. People smiled at you. New chances appeared. Problems seemed easier to solve. Was the world really different? Or were you seeing a different version of it? Quantum thinkers often compare this to frequency, not a magical force you can hold in your hand, but a pattern of attention, emotion, and belief working together. Your thoughts send one message. Your emotions strengthen it. Your actions prove whether you truly believe it. Together, they create a signal that you repeat every single day. Now imagine someone standing beside a locked door. They keep saying, "The door will never open." So they never touch the handle. Every day they walk away, believing the door is locked forever. Another person arrives, quietly reaches for the handle, and discovers it was never locked at all. The difference was never the door. It was the belief that controlled the action. This is why the universe often stays silent. It does not argue with your expectations. It simply allows you to keep living inside them until you become curious enough to question them. Have you ever felt a strong pull towards something without knowing why? Maybe a place you had never visited. A book that almost seemed to call your name. A conversation you almost skipped, but somehow changed your whole week. Those moments feel small while they happen. Later, they become turning points. Most people call them luck. Some call them coincidence. But what if they are neither? What if they are signals appearing because your inner state is slowly matching a different path? Here is where things become even more interesting. Your brain filters billions of pieces of information every second. It only lets a tiny amount reach your awareness. That means your reality is already being edited before you even notice it. The question is, who is choosing the filter? If your deepest belief says, "Nothing good ever happens to me," your mind will search for proof. It will ignore opportunities because they do not match the story you already accepted. But the moment that story changes, your brain begins noticing doors that were always there. This is why some people seem to transform almost overnight. From the outside, it looks sudden. From the inside, it began long before anyone could see it. The universe rarely changes your world first. It waits for the smallest shift inside you. Then reality starts responding in ways that seem impossible to explain. And there is one hidden sign that tells you this inner shift has already begun. Most people experience it, but almost everyone misunderstands what it really means. Most people think awakening feels powerful from the first day. They imagine endless confidence, clear answers, and instant peace. But the truth is often the opposite. Before your mind accepts a new reality, the old one begins to shake. It feels uncomfortable. You question yourself. Old habits suddenly feel empty. People you once connected with seem harder to understand. Nothing outside has changed yet, but inside, it feels like two different versions of you are pulling in opposite directions. This is the moment when many people stop. They think something is wrong. They believe they are losing direction. But what if that confusion is not a mistake? What if it is proof that your old frequency is no longer able to hold you? Imagine a radio changing stations. For a few seconds, all you hear is static. Not because the signal disappeared, but because it is moving toward a new one. That short moment of noise is part of the process. In the same way, your life may feel uncertain before everything becomes clear. Have you noticed that some people suddenly disappear from your life without a big reason? Conversations become shorter. Invitations stop. Messages feel cold. At first, it hurts. You wonder if you did something wrong. But think about this. If your direction changes, can every person from your old path continue walking beside you? Sometimes the universe does not remove people as punishment. It creates space for what comes next. The same happens with opportunities. A job ends. A plan fails. A door closes right when you thought it would open. You call it failure because you only see one moment. The universe sees the entire path. Picture a traveler standing at a broken bridge. He believes the journey is over because he cannot cross. So he turns around without noticing another road only a few steps away. The bridge did not end the journey. It forced him to discover the better path he never planned to take. Life often works the same way. The problem is not that people face closed doors. The problem is they stop looking after the first one closes. Quantum ideas suggest that reality responds to possibilities, not just certainty. Every choice opens one path, while leaving another behind. That means every moment carries more potential than your eyes can see. Now ask yourself something honest. How many times have you said, "It's too late"? How many dreams did you bury because you believed the right moment had already passed? What if time was never the real barrier? What if your belief created the limit long before reality ever did? This is why your inner conversation matters more than most people realize. Every morning, before you speak to anyone else, you have already spoken to yourself. Those silent words become instructions. They shape your focus. Your focus shapes your actions. And your actions slowly shape the reality you live in. The universe listens less to the words you say once, and more to the story you repeat every single day. If that story has been filled with fear, doubt, and waiting, then your reality keeps reflecting the same pattern. But the moment your story begins to change, something unexpected starts happening. Small opportunities appear. Strangers say exactly what you needed to hear. Ideas arrive at strange times. You begin feeling guided instead of lost. Most people dismiss these moments because they seem too small to matter. Yet every great transformation begins with something almost invisible. And the next sign is the one that surprises people the most, because it often appears just before reality shifts in a way they never thought was possible. Right before a big change, something unusual often happens. Life becomes quiet. Not peaceful, just quiet. Calls slow down. Plans fall apart. Progress seems to stop. You look around and wonder why nothing is moving. It feels as if the universe has forgotten you. This is the stage where most people give up. They mistake silence for rejection. But what if silence is actually preparation? Think about an arrow. Before it flies forward, it must first be pulled backward. If the arrow could think, it might believe it was moving away from its target. It would not understand that every inch backward was creating the power needed to move farther than ever before. Your life can feel the same. Sometimes what looks like delay is actually direction. Sometimes what feels like loss is making room for something your current life cannot hold. Look back at the hardest moments you have survived. At the time, they felt unfair. You asked, why is this happening to me? Months later, maybe years later, you realized those moments changed the person you became. Without that pain, you would not have learned that lesson. Without that ending, you would never have reached the beginning waiting for you. The strange part is that the universe rarely explains itself while you are living through the moment. Understanding usually comes later. That is why trust becomes so important. Not blind trust. Not pretending everything is perfect, but trusting that one chapter does not decide the whole story. There is another pattern that many people notice once they begin paying attention. The same lesson keeps returning. Different faces, different places, different situations. But somehow the feeling is always the same. Maybe every relationship ends for the same reason. Maybe every opportunity slips away in a familiar way. Maybe every fear sounds exactly like the last one. Why? Because until the lesson changes you, the lesson keeps finding you. Imagine a teacher giving the same test every year until the student finally understands the answer. The classroom may change. The questions may look different, but the purpose remains the same. Life often works like that. The universe is not trying to punish you. It is trying to wake up a part of you that has been sleeping for years. The moment you respond differently, the pattern begins to break. That is why awareness is so powerful. The instant you notice an old habit trying to control you, something changes. You are no longer trapped inside the pattern. You are watching it. And once you can watch it, you can choose differently. This is where many people feel something they cannot explain. They stop reacting to every problem. They become calmer. Not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because they realize they have more control over themselves than they ever imagined. That inner calm sends out a completely different signal. The same challenge arrives. Yet this time, it does not shake you. The same fear appears. Yet it no longer decides your next move. This is not because the outside world changed first. It is because your inner world stopped giving fear permission to lead. And when that happens, reality begins answering you in a completely different language. But there is one final shift that almost nobody expects. It happens so quietly that many people miss it completely. Until one day they realize they are no longer chasing the universe. The universe has started moving toward them. There comes a moment when you stop asking, why isn't it happening? Instead, you begin asking, who am I becoming? That single change sounds small, but it changes everything. Most people spend their lives chasing outcomes. I'll be happy when I get the job. I'll believe in myself when I become successful. I'll feel peaceful when life finally becomes easy. But notice what happens. Their happiness always stays one step ahead. The future keeps moving. The finish line keeps changing. And they never feel complete. The universe works differently. It responds more to who you are than to what you want. Imagine planting two seeds. One seed is placed in rich soil, watered every day, and given sunlight. The other is left on a hard rock. Both seeds carry the same potential, but only one has the right environment to grow. Your dreams are like those seeds. Your thoughts are the soil. Your emotions are the water. Your daily actions are the sunlight. If these three are working against each other, even the strongest dream struggles to grow. This is why repeating positive words without changing your actions rarely creates real change. You cannot tell yourself, "I trust the universe," while every decision is controlled by fear. The universe does not listen to the loudest sentence. It notices the strongest pattern. Patterns create habits. Habits create identity. Identity creates reality. That is why true transformation begins with small choices that nobody else sees. Getting up when you wanted to quit. Speaking kindly to yourself after making a mistake. Choosing courage even when fear is still present. These moments seem too small to matter, but they slowly build a new version of you. And one day, that new version begins attracting experiences the old version could never hold. Have you ever met someone whose presence feels peaceful? They do not speak louder than everyone else. They do not try to prove they are important. Yet people naturally trust them. Opportunities seem to find them. Solutions appear around them. It almost feels as if reality is helping them. Many believe they are simply lucky. But what if luck is sometimes the visible result of invisible inner work? The work nobody applauds. The quiet decisions. The moments of patience. The choice to keep moving when no one else believed. This is where your energy becomes different. You stop trying to control every outcome. Instead, you focus on becoming the kind of person who is ready for the outcome. And strangely, the less desperate you become, the more life begins opening doors. Not because the universe suddenly noticed you, because you finally became able to notice the doors that had always been there. That is the hidden shift most people never understand. The universe was never trying to hide your path. Fear was. Doubt was. Old beliefs were. Once they begin fading, the path seems to appear almost by itself. And if you've stayed with this message until now, there is one final realization waiting ahead. It is the one idea that connects every sign, every coincidence, every choice, and every moment that brought you to this video in the first place. You have now reached the end of this journey. But endings are strange. Sometimes they are not endings at all. Sometimes they are the exact point where a completely different story begins. A few minutes ago, you may have clicked on this video out of curiosity. Now you leave with a question that only you can answer. What will you do with what you have just realized? Because knowledge alone changes nothing. A seed kept inside a glass box never becomes a tree. Potential without action remains only potential. The universe may open a door, but you still decide whether to walk through it. From this moment on, pay attention. Notice the thoughts you repeat every morning. Notice the emotions you feed every day. Notice the small choices that seem too simple to matter. Those small choices are quietly building the person you will become 1 year from now. Most people search for one giant breakthrough. But life is usually transformed by hundreds of tiny decisions made consistently. One moment of courage. One act of patience. One decision to believe in yourself when your past tells you not to. Those moments seem invisible, yet they shape everything that follows. If you truly believe the universe sent you here today, then do not let this become another video you forget tomorrow. Carry one idea with you. Every time fear tells you to stop, ask yourself, is this fear protecting me? Or is it protecting the version of me that no longer wants to grow? That single question can change the direction of your life. Because growth almost always begins where comfort ends. The universe is not asking you to become someone else overnight. It is asking you to become a little more aware today than you were yesterday. A little more present. A little more grateful. A little more willing to trust your own inner voice. When enough of those small moments come together, people call it a miracle. But perhaps, a miracle is simply the result of invisible changes that happen long before anyone could see them. So as this video comes to an end, do not look for proof that the universe is working. Become the proof. Walk with purpose. Think with intention. Speak with kindness. Act with courage. And let your daily choices become the signal you send into the world. Because the frequency you live is stronger than the words you speak. If this message reached you at the right moment, don't ignore the feeling that brought you here. Take one step today that your future self will thank you for. And whenever life makes you wonder whether you are lost, remember this. You were never just looking for the universe. The universe was always waiting for the moment you were finally ready to notice it. If that moment is now, then your next chapter has already begun. Think back to the very first second you pressed play. At that moment, you believed you were choosing a video. Now ask yourself, What if the video was also choosing you? Not because of magic, not because your future was already written, but because every choice you have made until this moment slowly guided you here. Every success, every mistake, every heartbreak, every delay, every question you asked when no one else understood you. They all became small pieces of one larger path. Most people think the universe speaks through thunder, but it usually speaks through whispers. A quiet feeling that says, "Don't scroll." A strange peace you cannot explain. An idea that appears again and again until you finally pay attention. A chance meeting that changes everything months later. These moments seem ordinary because they happen softly, yet they often become the biggest turning points in a person's life. Imagine standing beside a river. If you fight the current every second, you become exhausted. If you stop moving completely, the water carries you wherever it wants. But if you learn how the current flows, you begin working with it instead of against it. That is what awareness really is. Not giving up control, not forcing control, learning when to move, learning when to wait, learning when fear is speaking, and when your deeper wisdom is quietly asking you to trust yourself. This is where many people misunderstand the universe. They wait for perfect signs before taking action. They say, "When I see one more sign, I'll begin. When everything feels certain, I'll move. When fear disappears, I'll finally follow my dream." But certainty almost never comes first. Action creates clarity. Each step reveals the next one. Just like walking through a dark forest with a flashlight. The light never shows the whole journey. It only shows the next few steps. Yet those few steps are enough to reach the end. Maybe that has been your lesson all along. You were never supposed to see your entire future. You only needed enough light for today. And today, you found this message. Or maybe, this message found you. Either way, something inside you has already changed. Not because someone gave you new information, because you looked at yourself from a different angle. That single shift is where every transformation begins. Tomorrow, your world may look exactly the same. The same room, the same people, the same responsibilities. But if your way of seeing them has changed, then your reality has already started changing. Remember this whenever doubt returns. The universe does not always send dramatic signs. Sometimes it sends one quiet moment, one unexpected thought, one simple video, at exactly the moment you are ready to hear it. And perhaps the greatest sign was never that this video appeared on your screen. The greatest sign is that, out of countless possibilities, you stayed until the very end, because some part of you was searching for more. And maybe, that searching was the message the universe had been waiting for all along.